Okay, welcome back everybody. In part 3, we're going to paint the chassis, replace the capacitors and the resistors in the circuit, and hopefully we can try to straighten out this this rat's nest. Okay, I think I'm ready to shoot a coat or two. This is what I shot the chassis of the Howard with. Now, I don't think that lid depicts what it really is, but hopefully I got enough to do this. Let me go spray it and then we'll look at it. Okay, there I've shot the paint. I see a few blemishes. I guess I didn't get the surface exactly the way I needed to. But anybody interested, and I'm not advertising Ace at all, but 17023, kind of a copper top, and it's metallic spray paint. I found that it works pretty good. Let's pull that front label. I brought it in the house. I had to shoot the paint in the shop, and it's a little bit cool there, so I brought it up into the house. My wife's not here right now, so y'all don't tell her, so maybe she won't smell it when she comes in. Well, right there is the where I pulled the patch off, and you can see how close it matched. It's a little bit got a metallic texture to it, but as far as the color, it is really close. Well, took this clamshell off, and I guess this goes on, I guess, like this, so that you can take the clamshell off without threading those wires through there thusly. Okay, they look all in pretty good shape. Not a whole lot of room for splicing in here, so I think we'll think about this. We'll either put some heat shrink on there. That's probably what we'll end up doing, because this is there's just not that much room in here. These are really tight. But while we've got these off, we can paint them, clean them up and paint them. I was asking my buddy Josh from the YouTube channel Tinkering with Electronics about these aluminum angle, and also how he built his radio stand. And he just cut the aluminum for me, and the next thing I know, he has this built for me. And so kudos to Tinkering with Electronics, Josh. By the way, he just posted a video on the visual alignment of an FM radio using a sweep generator and oscilloscope. You need to check it out. Very good demonstration, and you can actually see what he's doing, and he's explained it. So if you need to align an FM receiver, perfect opportunity. But thanks, Josh, for constructing this. He built the prototype. I'm testing the version 1, and so we're going to give him some feedback on this. So far, it really working really well. All right, what I'm doing right now is I'm taking a little acid brush, and I'm going in here and I'm cleaning these terminals, and then what I'll do is I'll take and remove this solder, like these two terminals, these three totally void of wire because of the transformer's gone. So I'm going to clean those up, but a little bit of alcohol that'll help as far as getting the solder off. and then I'll clean it up after I do that, so that it'll have good connections to solder to, and that's important. Take a little time, and you'll have a good solder joint. Well, I've had bad solder joints because of my lack of experience or lack of skill, but you start out with a clean joint there, and it'll help a whole lot soldering. As you can see, I cleaned these terminals off, cleaned out here a little bit. You can see all these terminals here, and this one here. What I think I will do is take a terminal strip and put it right there on that where the transformer mounts, and of course one of them's ground. We won't worry about it. Well, I don't think we've got any grounds anywhere that we need right there, but we can use this terminal for this junction and this one for here. Putting that terminal strip on there, let me show you one of my little toys. I saw this, can't even tell you where I saw this at, but I said I have got to have one of these. Maybe you can see. And let me show you what it does. Putting that terminal strip on, starting those nuts. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Got the transformer touched up a little bit, cleaned up, painted a little bit. Paint doesn't seem like it's wanting to cure properly, but it's okay. Let me show you how I put that terminal strip in on the bottom. There's our terminal strip. Of course, we can take this, put it right here. We can take this one, put it right there. I don't think we need the ground, but that should clean up a lot of this stuff. I've already checked this resistor. It's got to be replaced. I'll go through and do the rest of them and see the values of these. But I know this one's already over a meg, so it's got to be changed. I had said that resistor was well over a meg. It's almost 1.2 meg. But after I got to looking at a better copy, it's a 990K resistor, and it's white, yellow, which that's what it should be. It's probably close enough, but since it's old, I'm going to try to find something a little bit closer to replace it, since I've got to take it out anyway and move it to the terminal. I may have showed you this before, but I probably forgot it. Anyway, I'm going to replace that resistor that went from here to this junction, and so I'm going to take from here to here. While I'm at this junction, there's a capacitor, so I'm going to replace that capacitor. I usually don't cut but one end of the component out at a time and clean this up, and that way when I put it to here, then I know where it goes down here. If I take a bunch of them out, I get confused, and just as soon as I do, I have to go somewhere, whatever, and then I come back and I have to review video, camera, pictures, all sorts of stuff, trying to figure it out, then double check it with the schematic. But this way, now sometimes you get down here, it starts pyramiding, but if you only take one or two components at a time and one end at a time, then there's less likely to make a mistake. All right, as you can see, I've started cleaning this mess up just a little bit. The transformer itself. The only lead that I have connected is the center tap of the high voltage. As you saw in the other videos, the leads and the space inside those clamshells just didn't warrant or give me enough space to really do any splicing in there. So what I did is I heat shrinked it back into the case itself and spliced the wire. I put a yellow wire cloth and just marked it with some trace red for the center tap. And then I started changing that rat's nest out, or stump full of granddaddies as they used to call it. We're going to have to understand this plug back here. This is the speaker plug. And if you remember, the two outside, let's lay this out here. This right here, this one right here, this pin right here is a spare. It doesn't connect anything to the speaker plug. So this is just being used as a terminal block, okay? And if you'll look, this is, that's that 80 ohm resistor, measured 89, and then it goes to the 150 ohm. And we've already went through that in another part of the video. And then it jumps, and there's a junction over to here, just a jumper. The out two, since this is the spare, the outer ones, if you'll go back and look at my videos, the outer two is the speaker output primary coil, which is from here to here. A lot of schematics show what those pins and plugs, how they correspond, how they plug. This one does not. And if you'll recall, the inner two, these two, were the speaker field coil. Okay, so let's see how all these resistors tie into this. Okay, we had two junctions, one just floating out there, and it was the B plus one. Let me reposition just a little bit and give you a good idea. Get a better view here. Okay. Okay, let's see if we can understand this mess. The B plus comes off of pin 8 of the rectifier tube, and it goes over to C10, which is the positive of C10. Okay, now we don't have C10. That was where this one was, and then there was another one up here in the corner. So those have been totally removed, and if you'll remember, there was a big one taped here and one went across here. Well, I plan on trying to put them all right in this area, and I'll show you how I'm going to do it. But here's pin 8 of the rectifier tube, and there's a wire running over to this junction that we just put in there. Now that junction, I've run a red cloth covered wire to the pin which corresponds to this output transformer from, say, here, from this junction of this resistor, from where the capacitor is going to be, and it'll run to this part of the speaker output coil. Okay, so this is going to be our B plus. If you'll notice, the C10 and the C11 have the common, the positives are going to be together. So we're going to tie this the positive of both of the filter caps to this point right here, and the negatives will go to different points, and I'll show you where that goes. Okay, the center tap, it goes to, if you look, it goes, the center tap comes, I guess I get it on camera, it'll help a whole lot. the center tap comes out and it goes to the negative of C10 and also the speaker field coil, one side of that. And also the junction of the 490K resistor, which will be the center tap, the 470K, which I've put in here, and the speaker coil, which is the plug there. That is where the negative capacitor of one of the, or the negative lead of one of the capacitors are going to be, and it'll go from here to here. That'll complete that circuit there from that negative lead of the capacitor to there. So that's all that junction right in here, as you can see. Now, keep hitting my light, sorry. Kind of crowded quarters. But now, as we've said, C11, the positive, also connects to this same point here. Now, where does the negative go? Okay, it ties in to the junction between the 190K resistor and the 80 ohm resistor, which is on the other end of the speaker field coil. Okay, this is one end of the field coil we've already seen with the center tap, and we said that the two inner ones, the two inner plugs, was the field coil. Here is the other one, and here is a resistor. Instead of 190K, I think I've got 195K resistor. And there's the field coil. And remember that little jumper jumped over to here, which will tie into the 80 ohm resistor, which goes on out to the 150 ohm. So both positive filter caps will be here, and one negative here, and one negative here. Now it calls, now I've got two schools here. One of my schematics says 12 and 14, and I've got another one that says 12 and 16. I think I have some 15s, and I am going to put some 15s where here's the positive, and then each negative is here and here, and that should take care of this circuit. And after I do that, I'll come back and show you, and then I'll connect the transformer up the rest of the way. Now this is what's crazy. These are 15 microfarads at 450 volts, and they're going to replace those great big cans. I've got the positive leads connected together, and it will connect in here, and then each negative will come to its corresponding down here, and that'll look a little better when I get it put in. Okay, we've got the 15 microfarad caps in here. The negatives are going to different places, and the positives going to the B+. All this is soldered in. Now I can go back and solder the rest of the leads in. And once I do this, then we'll mount the tuning condenser, and then we can start replacing and recapping this. Now I've got a 500K ohm resistor or potentiometer and switch. The somebody's put 100K in, and it calls for a 500 or a 400K, so I'm going to put a 500K in there, and there's the replacement. And so let me put the transformer in, and then I'll come back, and then we'll put the tuning condenser in, and then we'll start cleaning this mess up here. As you can see, I went ahead and soldered the wires in on the volume control. This is the 500K. that'll replace the 100K. It calls for a 400K. I've got to come back and I have to cut the shaft off and make the D shape on it. Don't think I have to cut more than 3/8 of an inch or so and shape it, but I'll do that after I get the radio working. I went ahead and put this 0.022 microfarad capacitor on the center of the volume control, and it will tie in where this one. And I went ahead and, since I mounted in the tuning condenser and connected the wire down here, and that reminds me, I got to solder it. I just looked, and that's one of the problems I have, is sometimes I'll just bend it over and think I've soldered it and didn't, and that can cause problems later on. Since I've mounted this little terminal strip, I can replace this resistor that was attached to it where this one went, so we can go on with that. And once we do that and get this capacitor out of the way, we can replace this capacitor and then just move on and replace these three. This is a tone control one, and so we'll replace it also. And there's another resistor down here. I want to check it, and we may end up changing it out, but we'll see. And I haven't done anything with the primaries yet. I'm surveying the area to look to put a fuse in here, and then from there we'll see how we're going to route the cord and the fuse going up to the on-off switch. We replaced this 0.05 capacitor, and you come down this line. Of course, that goes into the one of the IFs, and then you come down, and there's R3 is another 990K. I've put a 1 meg there, and if you see that, one end of that goes to the 400K potentiometer. So looking in here, there's the 1 meg that I've replaced, the 0.047 that I've replaced, and of course this terminal goes into the potentiometer up here. Now replace 3 more caps, and we could be close. Okay, I've got everything just about replaced except this 49K resistor over here, and I've got a 47K to go in there. I'm going to go ahead and put a fuse here, bring in the power cord, and then route it up. Go ahead and hook the primary back up with it. Then what I plan on doing is go back through all the checks just like I did initially to make sure that everything is, the continuity is still correct. I'll also do point to point. Excuse me. I will take the schematic and I will go, and if there's a junction here, I'll make sure those connections and leave those out, especially the ones that I've replaced. Make sure I've put them back in the right thing, and then we will be ready to test this. But this may not be a work of art, but I think it's a lot less congested than the other one. Okay, I went ahead and replaced the resistor. That makes every resistor in here replaced. Every one of them was out of tolerance. So got that fixed. I put a fuse holder here, and I've got it wired to the switch. And now I've got to wire the primary here, and I'm waiting until I put the cord in and putting the negative here and the positive here, or the hot wire here, go through the fuse to the switch. I've got to put the grid cap on the top, and then I want to go through and take just a little bit of lacquer thinner with a drop with a hummingbird feeder brush and clean each one, each one of these pins to make sure, get good continuity. That's one of the biggest problems I've found. One of the most common problems is bad connections on the pins. So we'll do that in the next part, and then we will fire it up and do testing, troubleshooting, what have you. I still got to go back through here and check all the continuity checks just like I did in the very beginning, and make sure that it still looks the way it did when I first tore into it. So we're going to wrap this one up and then come back next time, and then we'll have it all back together, and we will apply some power and watch for the fun. So, from Larry from the hills of Tennessee, thanks for watching.